Good day and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today's video is going to be discussing the elite ships. So I'm not talking about the elite ships we can purchase, I'm talking about facing off against enemy elite ships. So what is there to know about the elite ships before you take them on in combat? Okay, first of all, elite ships generally have elite gear right through. All of the equipment is elite. That means if you go into the market standard and you want to look at any type of elite gear, all you've got to do is make sure that your settings are set, your filter is set to all markets instead of just your region. So I'm first going to show you the filter. Uh, it will take a few seconds for it to load. Now, when I say all of the gear is going to be elite, that means that the first thing you should know is uh, they are going to hit much harder than your regular vessels. So let's go in one by one. I'm going to open the lasers. Right. Now these are the regular lasers, and the moment you notice the little green square, this is actually the type of weapon they're running. And it's obviously in your limited T6, T7 elites. Uh, I've only found one T6 elite ever, but they weren't really that tough, except for in the mission where you find tons of T6 elites. And they're running ships which you can't even get a T6, which is a bit unfair. Okay, let's go down one more. Now, here are the elites that you're generally going to find on those ships, because this is actually what I've picked up on some of them. The Joust medium laser, I sold it immediately, I didn't have any use for it. So you're going to get items like this, and honestly, there's these large items come from the big missions. You can't get them from a small mission. I don't have any railguns. I haven't ever picked up a railgun in any of these. And as you can see, the DPS compared to even a MK9, 27.4, 29.16. It's quite a heavy increase in DPS. Now, as you can see, the overall idea is that it gives you more firepower. It gives you that better hit. But the one thing that it doesn't change is firing range. As you can see, this one is 5.16 and this one is 5.16. So they're a little bit stronger in the same range as the weapons in that class. I don't know why anybody would sell the decomposer, but you can only get these off rare drops. Now, I'm a missile launcher user, so I use this the most. And I have a full set of the Challenger gear in the missile launchers. I don't really use rapid cannons unless I have to use it against the elite ships. So these are the gear items that they're running. So the first thing you have to know is they're going to hit harder than your regular enemies. So if you're thinking that you can tank 20 hits from a regular enemy, remember zero point 0.2 extra DPS means every time it hits you, when you take 30 DPS from a regular, you're going to take 32 from the elite. Actually, it will be more because that's MK5 to MK9. That's about two discrepancy. Wait, let me just go back to the missile launchers. I'll just show you quickly. No, that's MK7, 31. Rapid 28.5, 31. Okay, as you can see, it's quite a big jump. It's about 7 or 8 more. So for every 30 that a regular does to you, they're going to do about, say, 6 to 7, maybe even 10 times, maybe even 10 more damage on each hit. That's per second. So if you're looking at this overall in your combat, when you decide to take on an elite, remember they're going to break you much faster. So if you could take 10 hits from a regular vessel, remember 10 hits plus that extra 10 which is going to come in means you can only take 8 hits before it's going to break through you. The reason why I say 8 is those 10 hits which you regularly take, you have different levels of deflection on your different items of your ship. Unless you're running damage control, in which case you just take a small boost to all your damages. Okay, so now I'm going to go down to your mid slot. They also run elite electronic warfare. Now, what is the difference between this and the regular? There's nothing really except for a little bit of range. As far as I can tell, wait, let me just go to the MK5 quickly. Yeah, a little bit of range. So it gives you a 2 kilometer extra distance. But there's something else that you also have to consider with the elites. The elites have a much greater range than any other ship I've seen. I've been webified by elite at, what was it? 16 Ks out, which is a lot longer than what the Seven says is possible. I'm sure it's not a predator, but even a predator doesn't have it, so that shows that it's not even in this. But for some reason, it managed to catch me at a much greater distance. The energy drain, if you look at the fall off, it should say 8 kilometers. Oh, this is small, sorry. Your medium should say 8 kilometers. But if you notice with your combat, they actually lock onto you at 75, 85 Ks out, and it actually does impact your energy. I didn't have anything running but my weapons, and my ship was running down at 2 a second in the small story mission. It's a ridiculous amount of energy drain, but it's because the enemies have extra range. I don't know why. Maybe it's a glitch in the game. Maybe it needs to be sorted. I'm not sure on that. So they are running all this elite gear. That gives them the edge in just the basics. And then they have the shield boost, which we all chase after. They have the shield extenders. And they have the shield hardener. And they have a fourth slot because they're running higher level vessels than what we can even get. I believe I even saw a sniper in one of these, which is a level 7 in a T6 combat fight, which shouldn't be possible. So I ran up against a sniper who has 5 slots of defense, 5 slots of assault. So basically, what that means for the ship is it has more firepower. And on top of that, if I am correct, it is fully rigged for whatever purpose that it's fighting you with. So if it's a defensive ship with the extra regen, it's running defensive rigs. So it has an additional bonus on top of the already ridiculous advantage that it had from the start. So what is your strategy on taking them on? How do you take on these elite ships if you have 10 of them, like the story mission, where you're going to take out everything easy and go after the elites? Now, when it comes to shield regen, the frigates and the destroyers are easier to take out than the cruisers. For the cruisers, you need to close that distance to less than 10, and you need to hit them with a rapid fire weapon or a torpedo launcher. Now, obviously, if you're going to go with torpedo launcher, remember you're in range of fire as well. You're going with a rapid fire weapon, you are close to range and you will take some damage, but you won't take maximum damage. So you can stay at around 19 and hit them a little bit harder than you would with your regular gear. That's the only advantage to running that close in combat. Now, let's go on with the strategies on fighting them. When you're warping into your fight, as I said, you warp in at various different locations and distances to get them to scatter. Now, once you've killed the 9th enemy, you'll find that they all huddle together and they form a big blob of vessels close together in a line. And they don't move from the spot. Originally, when you first arrive, they'll chase you wherever you go. They'll even chase you 300 kilometers out of the area. That's actually how I defeated most of the enemies in the solo. I do have a few left. I think I have 5 left. 1 is non-elite and 4 are elite. From the 4 elite, 2 are almost totally destroyed. I just took down their shield and gave them heavy damage and warped out when I took damage. So that's basically how you're going to play it. You're going to warp in, warp out, warp in, warp out. And another thing to note on your warp disruptors, let me just check what's the effective range according to the market. I don't know whether it's a glitch in the game or whether it's legitimately how it works, but the warp disruptors have been acting on my ship at various ranges. One time I'm 50 kilometers out, I get warp disrupted. There's no ship near me. I'm literally so far away from all of them that they don't have any weapons that can lock on me. And next thing I know, I'm warp disrupted. I can't get back to base. Now, that was just a lucky escape for me to get away from them, but it shouldn't have been that heavy on the block. So I'm just going to go look at the range right now. Remember I said they only run elite gear. So let's go. Optimal range is 26.25. So when these elite ships are coming close to you, you mustn't let them break the 27k radius, because once they break the 27k radius, they should be able to warp disrupt you. Now I'm a little bit more gutsy than that, because I know that some of the ships need to get within 20 kilometers of me before they can hit me. So I allow them to come all the way to 20. I engage my warp stabilizer, and then I warp out. I even tried the new cruiser, which you get part of the which you were getting as part of the Omega, to try and counteract it, but it didn't really uh, work in this fight, because you don't have any research in your cruiser. It is literally useless. It's more useless than my cruiser. It took more damage with every hit that it sustained to its shield. It took, what was it, 20% per hit. That means 5 hits to take down the shield, which is a massive amount of health, and then a few hits to take out the armor if I allowed it to go that far. And it can be hit from a larger range because of its abnormal size. It's slower. You see, all of that, there's the negatives on the ship. It has more defensive buffs, more mid slots. It means you can do more with the ship. You get to play more of a wider range of strategy instead of that single field of strategy that we've currently been playing. Okay, so let's move on to the rest of the strategy. So keeping your distance from the enemies is crucial. Now you have to try and figure out which enemy is using which attack. Normally, two elites will break off from the entire group and chase you. So, provided you haven't locked it down to a small number, try and get the two to chase you. The ones which run shield regen are generally the ones who are going to chase you. Now, when you make them chase you out of the range of the other ships. So, the moment you get something like 120, 130 kilometers on them, warp out to the station, warp back to your original position. At this point, those heavy tanky ships have 130 kilometers to cover before they can take you out. So here's what you're going to do at that point. When you warp back in, you're warping right into the front line of the remaining enemies. You are going to target the damage dealing ships. That means that ship, when you hit it, its armor will take more damage than any other ship, because they don't run defensive rigs. They're running everything offensive. They have a slightly higher range than the others. Even though you're going to be attacking them at 35 or 37 Ks out, they're still going to be able to hit you, and you're going to take a small amount of damage. You can heal it off. You hit them, you get rid of the shield, you get rid of half of the armor, jump away, come back in, kite away the tankers again, jump in again, take out the shield, whatever is on, because if you jump in and out fast enough, the shield doesn't fully regen, and it does regen slowly over time. But if you're fast enough, like less than 2 minutes to jump back and jump into the fight, it won't even regen 20% of the shield. So you can hit through the shield, take out the remaining armor on it, and start destroying the hull. And you can risk it and destroy the hull completely and let the ships come into your disruptor range, into their disruptor range, in which case you can't warp out of there. You now need to drift away from them slowly. So running the same setup that I am running in terms of weapons, sorry, always do that. Okay, looking at my fittings, this is what I'm actually running at the moment. Now I'm using the Stasis Webifier on the ship for only one purpose. I want to slow down some of the vessels that are coming too close. Okay, and I'm again over my time limit. So now when the vessel is coming too close, you're going to hit it multiple times, and you're going to start distancing yourself, because with your afterburner, even though you're orbiting, you still get the range. I've tried doing the approach with the distance. It worked for me one time. It told me approaching at 35, and then after that, it refused to accept the distance reading again. I'm not sure what's going on with that. Along with the orbit, I remember setting it at 35. After engaging all my weapons and my debuff, I changed my range to 35. That means it already automatically set itself to 9. And then I changed it to 35, it changed to 35, and then it changed to 19, and then it changed to 9, and then it changed to 35 again, and 9, 19. It was swapping between various orbits without me altering it. I have no idea what was going on. My ship took a beating in that run. Obviously, I saw that the stuff was fluctuating. I didn't really bother too much. I got destroyed. That one is totally on me. Whether it's a glitch in the AI of the game or whether it's just a natural method in the ships, doesn't really matter. It was fine with me. I was testing it out to see if it was to my benefit, whether it became auto range control or something like that. But nonetheless, I got destroyed. I lost a little bit of gear. It's nothing major. And the reason why it's nothing major to me is I didn't explain this here before, but I used all the encounters that unlock the missions to farm off gear. So I got all of my regular MK5 missile launchers of T5, T5 and T6 encounters. I got all of my debuffs of T6 and T5 encounters for this set. That's how come I don't have a NOS energy drain. I haven't picked up a single NOS energy drain from an enemy drop. And that's just another thing which they haven't given an equal balance of. What drops from the ships? And I don't think that it's a fair this thing that they only drop one item or just the debris. They should drop at least 20% or 40% of what is on the ship. And it shouldn't be RNG like normal, random gear. But whatever it's firing should be the weapon that you're getting. And whatever debuffs it's using, one should be there and one low slot. That means 3 items out of a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 3 out of 10, 30%. You see that's fair, and the debris hull, because there is absolutely fair on the overall gain for a player. But you're just getting debris hulls. What is it going to do for you? At the end of the day, you can make materials with it, and you can build blueprints for ships, which are ridiculously expensive, and you are basically running closer to a PVE only setup. You're not going to be really jumping for the setup for industry. Okay, so I've explained the method on getting them away and hitting them. Now, there is one other thing, the sniper vessels. The sniper vessels have a buff to the range on almost all the weapons. The sniper destroyers, if I'm correct, can hit you up to 45 k's out, and that's at regular damage range for them. So, the other thing to know about the sniper destroyers are they're very glassy. If you hit them hard enough, their shield starts to break down very fast. As it goes lower, it falls faster. So that is going to be your bonus when it comes to attacking. Okay, right. Now I've discussed everything about the regulars. You take out your lower class ships first as much as possible, and then you go after your tanks. There are a total of, I think, 6 tanks in the story mission. Um, Two of them, no, one of them is a cruiser, and the others are broken up between destroyers and frigates. Taking out the frigates is very easy. Taking out the destroyers is a medium task because the shields are a bit tanky compared to the frigates, and it does take a lot of time. If I remember correctly, 4 hits to get it a quarter of the way down, then it regens a third, then another 4 hits to get it about 40 hits to take out the shield, and then another 40 hits to take out the armor, and then another 40 hits to take out the hull because it just keeps regenerating that shield. And that shield will sponge a whole lot of damage and it doesn't really weaken up over time. Okay, so I have explained the basics. And in case anybody was wondering, this ship is unrigged. And it took on Wave 3, killing almost, what was it, 20 vessels on its own. That means that this ship is capable of fighting that well and just being a Caracal trainer. That shows you that if you work hard enough on your skills, you can take on these small missions almost effortlessly. For me, unfortunately, I have taken quite a bit of time. I took 4 hours on the first day, 4 hours on the second day, and today is going to be my third day. It's going to take me a couple more hours to finish off the last 5. 1 being a normal, 4 being elite, 2 already damaged. I'm estimating that it's going to take me around another 2 hours if I'm lucky and if I don't get bored and start chatting. So that's going to be it for this video. Please leave a like, subscribe, or comment on the video. If you dislike the video, please leave a comment as to what was not to your liking. If you experience any problems with my audio, please leave a comment, because I double check my audio before uploading, and once it's uploaded, I don't really check the YouTube video itself. For some reason, it distorts a bit on YouTube, and sometimes where my voice changes in pitch and tone, it fades away. And thank you to all those who comment, and thank you to anybody who leaves me a suggestion or anything that I'm doing wrong. Okay.